Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jazz from the Ever After Reader. This is part 2 of my review of the Once Upon a Never After series. So I did a part 1 that was like all of the positives. This is part 2, which is all of my negatives. And let me tell you, I have quite a few number of negatives. So yes, I still stand by what I said in the other video. I would definitely recommend this to some friends. However, I don't know if I'm just really picky when it comes to books that I'm reading. There were a lot of things that annoyed me. So let's get into those. Okay, number 1. This is probably the most overarching one. So let's get this out of the way first. It sort of feels like a fanfic about Jax. And like, let me qualify that a little bit because I want to give Stephanie Garber credit. I've read only a few fanfics before. Let me tell you, it's really hard for me to read fanfics because I feel like they have a lot of potential to go places. But these people need to get some editors. I often find spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, really awkward sentences. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too hard. I will start reading a fanfic and then all of these like errors will start piling up and it just drives me crazy. I can't get lost in a story when there's all of these errors that keep piling up and just they make it so that I'm pulled out of the story just way too much. So like I've tried a couple. They come very highly recommended, the ones that I tried. And I couldn't do it. I made it like just a couple of chapters in and I was like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm fine with the canon. I will just make peace with that. So Stephanie Garber does not have those issues. I already talked about how great of a writer I think she is. She keeps me in the story, right? I am like locked into the story. There were just things about the story that I didn't love, and one of them was that this just felt like she wanted to do more with the character Jax, and I get it. He's interesting, but he just felt too different. Like he was a completely different person, and like yeah, he had some growth, and we saw that a little bit. It was like too big of a swing. So if there was something more gradual, or if she had Jax's perspective alternating with Evangeline's from the beginning, or maybe this whole story could have been from his perspective, that might have been easier to get behind and to like feel like we're following this character because we all want to know more about him. That said, I liked Evangeline. I liked it being from her perspective. But let's just have it a little more gradual of a change, or I don't know, maybe just like yanking him out of the Caraval series and dropping him in the North was a little bit too much. I don't know. He was just so manipulative, and he was just like there for the chaos of everything. And you know, he kissed Donatella and then she didn't die, so it meant she was his true love, but she like absolutely hated him. Like there was that whole thing that didn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden he's just like ready to move on to open the Valerie Arch. We didn't understand enough of his motivation to get behind him in his quest, or to understand like what his deal was with now being interested in Evangeline. So that was just kind of odd. Second thing, the scars, the 3 heart scars. The first 2 were cashed in like almost immediately, and they just felt odd. Like, okay, so I get that the first one, he needed Evangeline to marry Prince Apollo so that she could be a princess. I get that, right? So there was that whole prophecy thing. That makes sense. But then the second one, she kissed Lady Fortuna or Fortunata, however you say their name, to get her to reveal some secrets about the arch, and that just didn't make any sense. Like it feels like Jax already knows enough to be able to figure out where those are. And then also he's working with Chaos, who we know is, well, we don't know at the beginning, but we know at the end that he is one of the Valors. And so, like, he should know where these arches are. It's just a matter of finding the stones. So I guess looking back now, he was going into her secret place to try to find one of the Valerie stones or the arch stones. But I don't know. I don't know why he would need Evangeline to be able to do that. Like, he can manipulate people's emotions, and so I don't understand why he needed to cash in on that kiss for that. And then he never cashes in on the third one, even up to the very end. And then instead, the mark turns into like a tracking beacon. I just didn't buy it. That bothered me. It felt like there was just this half-baked story. Either I wanted to see more of that or just like nix it. I don't think you need that to make it a good story. Okay. Third gripe. I promise you guys I had more fun with this book than this video is making it sound like. But what was with the vampire stuff? Like, wrong Stephanie. That's a different Stephanie. You're not Stephanie Meyer. Stop with the vampire stuff. Why? Like, your universe has enough magic and mystery as it is. Like, I didn't need to have a vampire and an underground vampire castle, and for your first love to be turned into a vampire. That just all felt pointless. And then Jax getting bit and the whole thing in the crypt, that I didn't find that romantic. That was creepy and weird. And like, Evangeline, why are you staying there? Why aren't you leaving? So there was a lot there with that. Sure, was it interesting? Sure. Did it need to happen? No, I don't think it added any kind of dimension to this story that was helpful. Next thing. Evangeline is already interesting. Why does she have to have pink hair? What, like, she was just born with pink hair, and then it's not even pink, it's rose gold hair. Like, why? You don't have to make it. Like, was this a poetic thing? You just wanted it to be more poetic, that it's rose gold? Like, she had pieces of gold, blonde, and pink hair. I don't know. That just sounds freakish. Like, the stepsister was right in this one point. Like, you're kind of a freak at that point for just having this hair. And like the only reason she has the pink hair is because the prophecy says a girl crowned with the rose gold. Like, couldn't that prophecy have just meant she was wearing a literal crown made out of rose gold, which that is a real thing, right? Rose gold is an actual thing. The hair didn't make sense. And then with the whole prophecy, she's not the first key. She's not the only key. Why is she special then? There's like a whole bunch of other women just like her. And one of them shows up to the party wearing this wig to hide that she has the special hair. But why was she trying to kill Evangeline? Like, that didn't make any sense. Like, if you have a prophecy, just have one person. And then you find out that she was in love with the Lord that Apollo finds irritating. That didn't make any sense. That was like a half-baked, not even half-baked. That was just like thrown in there. I don't know why we didn't need that. Get that out. There was just a lot of fluff. When you come down to it, there was a lot of like fluffy things that didn't add any substance, didn't move the story along at all, could have been cut, and you could have had like way more interesting interactions between Jax and Evangeline, or figuring out more about Jax's past. Like, it was kind of obvious that he was the archer, right? Like when they show up at his place when he's like all passed out, there was this giant stack of books of the Ballad of the Archer and the Fox. Like, once he had that collection of books, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is about him. So that was kind of interesting, right? That you find out that's who he is. But there wasn't enough. Like, I would have wanted more. So instead of spending time on vampires and instead of spending time on these other keys, like, spend time on that. And then when you did get flashbacks to the past, those didn't give you enough. Like, we see Lala is there. By the way, why is her name Lala? Like, she has a really pretty name, Ariel. Like, why can't we call her Ariel? That bothered me. So we find out she's there. She's one of like the Marywood people. But you never like find out more. She lost her true love, and that's why she's the unwed bride, because she wants, her true love, and she didn't get that. So I don't know why she turned herself into a fate. Was it because she knew that he was locked away in the Valerie, and so she wanted to wait until it could be open to be with him? Is that why? But then if you know you're waiting, why is it that you're like trying to get married over and over and over and over? I don't understand her story. I don't really empathize with it because she kind of ended up being this like flat character. And then when the arch does open up, why wouldn't she go right to him? She's been waiting all these years, and you don't find out until the very end that one of the brothers, one of the Valors, is the guy who can turn into a dragon. But right before all of that, like, Lala and Chaos were having like a moment. There was a lot of like tension there. I don't know. That was so weird. Like, was that supposed to be romantic? Because it kind of came across as like, I don't know, there's some romantic tension going on there. But that's the brother. And you're supposed to be in love with with the guy who's been locked up. Like, and then she never goes back to it. She never finishes that story. So you have that whole loose end. What was the point of that? Like, why put that in? Why build that up? Why spend so much time on like the unwed bride and you know, how she's suffering and why she's suffering and like why she cries these tears of poison because she's so heartbroken. And then the day comes when she could be with him and like she's going to run away from him too. But you don't even give us that full story. So like I don't know what to make of that. And then literally we have like a quarter of the book left of the final book. And now we get this new villain introduced who's Aurora Valor. And like, why is she all of a sudden the big villain? It turns out she was the mastermind from all the way back. She is the one that put the curse on Jax to kill the first love, right? Like the fox thing. It was all her doing because she was jealous because she wanted to be with Jax, but Jax never took notice of her. So it's this like bitter woman thing. And she's like pretending to be nice to Evangeline, but like she actually does stick up for her a couple of times when Apollo is just being despicable. And then you find out she wants Apollo to kill Evangeline to get Evangeline out of the picture. And so leads him to the tree of souls. She just doesn't make any sense. Like, either make her the actual villain and make that story the main plot point in the final book, or just take it out. Like, it wasn't enough to actually be the villain. Okay, so last thing. In the final book, I felt like she was going to do this because she did it with Finale for Caraval. But why did we need 3 different perspectives? We had Evangeline, and then it would rotate to Apollo, and then it would rotate to Jax. I didn't want Apollo's perspective at all. Didn't care about him at all. It also didn't add any insight into his character. And then it also wasn't like often enough of a switch in narrators to like make that choice make sense anyways. Like he was in love with himself is what we found out in the very end, but like we knew that literally at the very beginning. Like he's throwing this whole ball, right, the Nocte never ending, and instead of going and trying to meet women to be a queen, a future queen of his kingdom, he's like lounging in the tree getting another portrait painted of himself when he has like a million portraits throughout the whole castle of himself. Like we knew that he was in love with himself the whole time. So we didn't need the story of the Tree of Souls and him trying to go there. It made more sense for him to kind of like either be killed off as a character longer ago, or no, not even or. Like that's the decision that made sense. It made sense for him to just be killed off when he was, and then for his brother to come and take the throne. And then we would have had a way more interesting story with the brother, because he was actually trying to keep Evangeline from opening the Valerie, and that was like a true conflict. So I don't know. I just didn't really care about Apollo, especially in the third one. Especially didn't want to know his side of the story because it added 0. I was on the fence about whether or not I was gonna like the perspective from Jax's story. One thing makes Jax an interesting character is that he's so mysterious. We don't know what he's thinking. He's always wearing this mask, right? So it felt like if you were going to get his perspective, that part of his character was going to go away. And to do that in the final book of the series for the first time, it just feels a little late. Like, we know why he's doing everything that he's doing. It's because he doesn't want Evangeline to die, right? It's because he actually does love her. So to get his side of the story felt like I don't know what we're doing here. And he only had a couple of chapters that were from his perspective, so it didn't really add much. Like, I don't know why we needed those chapters. Yeah, that was like probably the most minor of all of my complaints. There were just a lot of things like that in this series where it's just these like undeveloped ideas, these kind of pointless tangents. I don't know. I don't know. The whole story was enough. It could have stood on its own, just develop that story more. All right, well, that's all I've got for today. I hope that didn't stomp on anybody's enjoyment of this book, but it was fun. I really love these book rants. They're so cathartic. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like, give my channel a subscribe, and hopefully I'll be back more often to be able to do these reviews and these rants soon. All right, bye.